a guy won a huge jackpot in Vegas and he made all kinds of money. And he goes back to his hotel room and he's like, I think I might want to have a little bit of fun with lady. So he goes down to the concierge and he's like, hey, I'm looking for a little bit of female companionship. Do you know anybody? The concierge says, I know just the person for you. Gives the name of a hooker and tells him where to go. So the guy gets in a cab, drives over, gets out, goes to the penthouse apartment, rings the doorbell. This beautiful woman opens up the door, just absolutely stunning. She says, can I help you? The guy says, yeah, I was looking for a little bit of female companionship, and my concierge gave me your name. And she's like, well, what are you looking for? He's like, oh, I don't know. What do you offer? She's like, I do everything. He's like, well, how about a hand job? She's like, okay, that'll be $5,000 for the hand job. And he's like, what? Are you insane? No way it's supposed to be $5,000 for a hand job. She's like, come here for a second. She brings him into the apartment and she shows him the apartment. He says, you see this apartment? This penthouse suite? I own the entire top floor of this building. All the furnishings, all the artwork, everything in here, I paid cash for every single item inside this here, and I pay cash for rent every month just from the money I get for hand jobs. The guy's like, wow, that must be a really good hand job then. Okay, let's do it. So she gives him a hand job, and it's the best hand job he's ever had. Goes back to his apartment, and he's laying there late at night, and he's like, oh, I wonder how much it is for a blowjob. Gets back in the cab, goes back to her place, and she opens up the door. She's like, I knew you'd be back. He's like, that was the best hand job I ever had. I've got to know, how much is it for a blowjob? She's like, that's going to be about $10,000 for a blowjob. He's like, are you insane? She's like, come with me. She gets in the elevator, brings him downstairs, opens up the garage at the parking level, and there's a huge parking area just filled with all kinds of brand new shiny sports cars. Any kind of car you can think of. She says, you see all these cars here? He's like, yep. She's like, I paid cash for every single one of those cars, and I cover the insurance for those cars and the storage fees in this parking facility just with the money I make from blowjobs. He's like, wow, well, the hand job was great. The blowjob's got to be fantastic too. It's like, okay. So she's like, let's do it. Gives him a blowjob right there in the parking garage, and it's the best blowjob he's ever had. He just can't believe it. He's laying in his hotel room later on. And he's like, oh, I got to know how much it is to go the whole way. Gets back in the cab, drives back to her place, knocks on the door. She opens up the door. She's like, you back again, eh? He's like, yep. Okay, this time I got to know, how much is it to have sex with you? She's like, okay, before I answer that question, I need you to come here for a second. So he goes back into the apartment. She takes him out on the balcony, and it's a beautiful view of Las Vegas, right down the strip. She says, you see all those casinos and hotels there? He's like, yeah. She goes, if I had a vagina, I'd own every single one of those casinos.